Well, I don't think Lonnie's going to make it. I think, yeah, so probably not. But that's okay. We'll still have fun. We'll be maybe we'll even be funnier without him. What do you think, Jody?
Well, you bring all the fun. I just bring the organization.
Somebody's got to. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Disney with the Ducks. Today is episode 180. I am joined today by my friend Jody.
Hi, friends.
And my new friends Trey and Emma.
Hi.
And we are going to talk about Emma's experience with the Disney College Program. But before we get into that, as we like to do, I want to remind you that we live and die by your comments, your feedback, things like that. So please smash that button. Give us some love, 5-star reviews. Any complaints, they can go directly to Lonnie. They're probably his fault anyway. So without any further ado, let's get going, and let's start with a little icebreaker. Being as this is a college program show, we thought we'd talk about just what our favorite, what we really enjoyed as far as a class wise in college. And Jody, I know you were a journalism major, but what was it, that kind of class that you enjoyed the most?
I really wanted to go to school for history, and I didn't really know what I would do with that degree. So that was one of my minors, and my favorite class was taught by Dr. Jellison, and it was history, women's history class before the Civil War, which was incredibly interesting. She was an incredibly interesting teacher. I also took a class on espionage, which was really cool. History and espionage, which was like super, really fun. Jean, you would like that class because it was kind of
yes, I would.
Not your typical crime shows, but the whole field of espionage was incredibly interesting. But the most useful class I took was not actually a college course. In our sorority, we took a etiquette class, and that was probably the class that I learned how to shake hands properly, where to wear a name badge, how to properly eat soup, how to wear your no, I'm not kidding you. Where your butter and your butter plate, your drink, were at it. Yes, the little tricks, the B and the D. But that's the class that I learned the most and used most on a practical business, like in a business setting. Those were the skills that I used the most. So,
nice.
Yeah.
But Trey, thanks for sharing that, Jody. Trey, we'll get a chance to introduce you in a minute, but first introduction, where did you go to college, and what was the class you most enjoyed in college?
Okay, so actually, I was on that crazy plan where I went to several colleges, and but I wound up at East Texas Baptist University in Marshall, Texas.
Okay.
And so I went there originally to play baseball, and then that kind of fizzled pretty fast when I realized I wasn't going to go pro, and so I was done with baseball and just decided to focus on studies. But being that it's a Baptist university, we were required to take, so many hours of religious studies. And so a couple of classes that I really enjoyed was Old Testament survey. I had an awesome teacher named Dr. Utley who, he quizzed us every day on what we read at night, and I don't read. And so I learned in the first couple of days of class that if I don't learn how to enjoy reading, I'm going to fail. And so anyway, he was one of my favorite professors. And then I had one more, Dr. Tankersley, that taught teachings of Jesus. And so that class was extremely hard, made a C in it. I don't know how I nearly failed what I call Bible class. And, but anyway, those were two of my favorite classes, along with different social studies classes, which I wound up being a teacher for eventually. And so,
that's great.
Anyway, yeah, that was pretty much my funnest classes.
Funnest. That's good. I was on a similar type track. Emma, so tell us, we'll get a better intro from you in a bit. So you're in college now.
Yes.
What year are you, and what classes or class do you enjoy the most? So far, have you enjoyed most so far?
Yeah, so I'm about to be a junior in college right now, and my major is apparel merchandising and product development.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my classes are like I like to call fashion classes. So
Mm-hmm.
probably my favorite one so far has literally just been sewing and making skirts, and I made a bag that I still use all the time.
Oh wow,
Like just
that's
literally
great.
just sewing. And so like that was just the only one sewing class I've taken so far is just the beginner one. And I believe this semester I'm gonna be doing more intricate pieces. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So literally like I do a sewing class or a learning about the different types of fabrics,
Mm-hmm.
all with that realm, graphic design, anything creative. So that's kind of what I'm taking right now. And that's what I like. That's why I picked that major, because I'm most interested in that sort of thing. And so that I'd say the sewing class is definitely my favorite so far.
That's really cool. I like that. So, are you taking orders at this point for, any custom?
I mean, maybe, but it'd probably be free because I wouldn't want to charge you for that. Maybe in the future. Maybe when I get a
All
little
right,
better.
I'll keep that. I'll keep that in mind.
I love that.
So,
What an interesting major. Like I have 0.01% creativity in my body, so I'm always just amazed by people who can do things like that. That's awesome. That's so great.
Yeah,
I can't wait to follow you and get to see all the good things that you get to do.
Yeah, no, I'm always been sort of like a creative type person, and like I've done art, drawing, all the things growing up. And so like I originally started out in the business college, and I quickly found out that that was not for me. So I was like, I got to do something creative, and that was what they offered, and just so happened to be something that I really enjoy doing. So I'm excited to continue out and finish off that degree.
That's great.
that's good. That's good stuff. I like creative stuff too. I am not in a creative field. I didn't have a creative major. I didn't really take any creative classes. But in my spare time, I like to make and do. And my mom actually was a seamstress in Lake Charles, where I grew up, and so I watched a whole lot of stuff being sewn. She made bridesmaid dresses, and I don't know if she ever made a wedding dress, but she did all the patches on senior jackets for a sporting goods store in town, and I watched her make and do a lot of stuff over the years, and helped me with some stuff that I had for projects for school and stuff like that. She didn't do it, but she helped me. For me, I started in college a long time ago, and then I took a little bit of a break, and then I went back. And but my most memorable class was my very first semester in college. It was a psychology class, and this professor, I don't even know the reason why, but he found out towards the end of the semester that he wasn't going to be returning, and so things went off the rails just a little bit, not too bad, but just a little bit. He actually, I don't think he got in trouble for this. I thought this is kind of the coolest thing, but he asked for a volunteer to be hypnotized, and I raised my hand. It was a big class. It was just at McNeese State University. It wasn't like 1,000 people, but it was probably 50 or 60 people in the big classroom. And I went to the front, and I was hypnotized. And he didn't make me do anything weird. He talked me through like walking down, a trail and getting in a boat and taking this leisurely, trip on a boat, down in this cavern, and, the sounds and, all this stuff made me really relax. And then at some point my hand was up in the air, and for a long time, or it seemed like it. And he was talking to me, and I was aware of everything around me, but it was just such a surreal thing. Like it was a real thing. And then for the final, he gave us 5 questions, and the 5 questions had nothing to do with psychology. And it was everybody made an A. Everybody made an A. I earned an A, I think, but everybody made an A because he was gone.
Now we know why
no
Gene liked the
class.
Yeah. But I also historically, I love history and some nerdy stuff like that. So I've always loved those classes, but that was the most memorable because of the experience of being hypnotized. Maybe he made me quack like a duck, and I don't remember it, but
maybe that'd be appropriate given where you are now.
That's right. Thank you all for sharing those favorites. But that makes an easy transition into the Disney College program. And I'd like maybe to start off, Emma, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about a little bit about who you are. We don't want any stalkers, so not too much, but just where you are in school and kind of what your experience has been, and then we'll maybe transition how you got interested in the Disney program and kind of how you went in that direction.
Yeah, so my name's Emma, and I'm 20 years old, and growing up, I literally, because of this guy right here and my mother, they raised me and my sister very much Disney. Every single thing, every movie we watched, every TV show, every toy, everything was Disney. And then I think my first time I went to Disney I was like maybe a year old. And then we would go like every other year since I was a year. And so because of that, I obviously had an interest in doing the program. And I mean, I didn't even hear about it till I heard it from another college program while we were on a trip one time.
Mm-hmm.
We just started talking to a cast member and she started explaining it. And since then, I literally was like, I will do that one day. And so I literally I am the one that in the family, we plan the trips, do all the things. I do the research. I would consider myself I eat, sleep, and breathe Disney, basically.
Yeah, wow.
And so it was very fitting for me to end up doing this. And I'm honestly, me as a person, it's not like me to just move off somewhere and go for a couple months by myself. And so taking that step was very big, but I knew if I didn't do it, I would regret it. So I just had to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And then now I'm about 3 months out from it, and it was so much fun. So happy I did.
I have so many questions.
That's great.
Yeah.
So did you do this? What time of year did you do this? So did you take time off of school to do this, or what did you do this in the summer?
Yeah. So I did it from January to May of this past year. And so I did take a semester off of school, which I took one class online while I was there just to not be super behind. And then, of course, I caught myself up this summer with online classes.
Do you think it was worth it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have wanted to do it in the summer because I thought about it, but the heat in Orlando.
Hot. That's exactly what I thought. Too dang hot.
And I also like my summers being home with my family because I do go to college out of state. And so it just lined up to where the spring, the weather's nice. They would be able to come to visit sometimes with their breaks. It just worked out that way. And I was ahead enough in school to be able to do it.
Oh, nice.
So that was your sophomore year then your second year of college? Okay.
Yes, my spring semester of sophomore year.
Perfect. Awesome. And then let's kind of take a step back from this. And when did you start thinking about what semester you wanted to apply, and how was that process? Because I've heard that could be quite intimidating.
So ever since I got into college, I've had it in the back of my brain, and I tried to figure out a timeline because I'm very much a planner. I like to plan things out, and I try to figure out the perfect timeline for me to do this. And it always came to junior, senior year is what I would imagined. And so, and then I was thinking originally I would do fall semester just because Christmas would be fun to do. And then I don't know, it didn't just something. Last semester, I talked to somebody that said that their friend did it. Not last semester, fall, August last year. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to look more into that because it's my timeline is approaching junior, senior year. And I was like, okay. So, and then I did more research, and I noticed it said online, it was a 20%, that could be wrong, but 20% acceptance rate. I was like, oh, well, maybe I need to just apply, and I probably won't get in, but I can kind of see how the process is so it can prepare me for when I actually want to do it. So last year, I think it was September of last year, I just winged it and I sent an application. I got an immediate response saying they want a phone call. I was like, okay, it was probably automated. They read my resume, whatever. I was like, okay, well, that's kind of scary. I'm about to take a phone call. And so I did the phone call. And then a week later, I got accepted. And I was like, oh, so I guess I'm going now. Like I literally applied just to try to get some experience when I actually wanted to do it. And then I got accepted and I was like, well, I mean, okay, guess I'm going this spring.
Emma, that's so exciting.
Yeah. So, and then, I mean, I don't know how true it was, like what Google said, the 20% acceptance. I don't know how true that is now that I've been there and I've talked to other people. I'm like, we all got in at the same time. The first time, I don't know. But
did you look at some people like, dang, they'll let anybody in here?
Yeah, sometimes I did think that, but
that's what I thought you were going to say.
No, yeah, but I think in the past they may have done a Zoom call that it was in like 3 stages. I this is where I've heard somewhere it said that where they looked through your resume, then they did a phone call, and then they did a Zoom call. So when I almost hung up the phone, when he was asking me, okay, do you have any other questions? I was like, so what's the process after? Like, is there a Zoom call or is there anything? Nope, you just get accepted after this. I was like, oh, so this is it. And he was like, yeah, this is the final stage. I was like, oh, no way. So when I got accepted, I was a little bit surprised, but I also wasn't, because our conversation went really well. It flowed fine. He asked me questions that were like kind of, my responses, you could tell that I was very familiar with Disney, like with the parks, and like I knew what was going on. And so based on that, I kind of was like, okay, there's a good chance I might get accepted, but also in the back of my brain, I'm like, okay, 20% acceptance rate, probably not. But then I got accepted, and then I told my parents, I guess I'm going in January.
Okay. Now let's turn the mic over.
Yeah.
All right, Dad. So first of all, I want to say good job about raising your kids Disney, because we did an entire show on this. I feel rather passionate about that. So good job with that. So you get this phone call. Hey, Dad, you're never going to believe this. I just got accepted into Disney College Program. And you said,
I think I said something like, whoa. I really, or like, really? Or like now? I think it was something like, we're doing this now? Because like she said, she always thought her junior year, senior year, which as a dad, I'm thinking, okay, the later you get into college, it is harder. The classes are harder, but it also gets easier to manage. You kind of been there and done that. So it's easy to kind of figure things out. So when she said, oh yeah, I'm going and we got to pack up and leave in January. And I'm thinking, and I started thinking about, oh, how is she getting there? How are we going to, what's the logistics of getting her down there? I got to take off school because I'm in the school system. And so January is not a time you take off. And so, all those kind of things. But yeah, my first reaction was kind of like, whoa, this is happening. This is actually happening. So yeah.
So exciting though. You had to be so proud. I mean,
oh yeah, definitely.
So that's exciting. Gene, I keep asking questions. It's time for you to jump in.
I was thinking about this. I thought my wife and daughter watch, it's not a plug for it, but Big Brother. And there a lot of the people on that show, they call, they're chosen. They're super fans. They know who everybody is. And so you're kind of a Disney super fan, right? Did you find that to be common among the people that were chosen? Were they also like super, I call my colleagues on this podcast, I call them Dis nerds. I'm a different kind of nerd. They're Dis nerds. Were they like super into Disney? Were they as knowledgeable as you, or was it different?
Honestly, not as much as I thought they would be. So it was kind of like half and half. A lot of people, like one girl I met, I asked her, I was like, hey, like what made you want to join and do the program? She said, well, a group of my friends in college were doing it. And they said, why not you go too? And I've only been to Disney one time. And I was like, oh, no way. She's like, I'm probably the least, because I was like talking to her about Disney, because I'm like, we're on the program. I know this is my people. And she started talking, and I was like, wait, you don't know that much about Disney, do you? And she's like, no. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So like there was a couple people like that, actually. Like I was genuinely surprised, but there, like I said, there is their fair share of those people, but then there was people like me and people that are even more so Disney than me. And so like this one girl I worked with that I became really close with, she was die hard, woke up at the crack of dawn, would go to the parks up until an hour before her shift started, then go work. And then if there was still park opening at the end of the day after her shift, she would go and then repeat the next. Like she was there every day. And when I tell you, if I had that energy, I would have done that. But when I'm working, because it's a lot to work there. There's no way. I went on my off days, but it was really surprising to me to hear not that many people knew much about Disney and they were working for the company. It was very interesting to me. Like, why were you here? And they're like, just
when you think about it, I see I see the name tags and I see where people are from, and there are people that are from places that don't have Disney World or Disneyland or a Disney park, and you can imagine they probably hadn't spent, if somebody's from, somewhere in Vietnam, they've not spent a lot of time probably at Disney. So there are, I know there are some people, but the only people I know of that have done it it's been because they just had this love for Disney, that I've known personally,
Mm-hmm.
What was what kind of job did you do?
Yeah, so I was in merchandise and at Disney Springs. So not World of Disney. I worked at the Star Wars store, the Marvel store.
Now you have Jean's attention.
What better job is there, right? Wow, that's great.
So it was actually 4 different locations. Technically, it was the Star Wars Marvel, and then the glow carts at Disney Springs, and Candy Cauldron.
Wait, the what cart at Disney Springs?
Glow carts, like the bubble ones. And yes. Yes.
My husband does not like the bubbles.
Yeah. Neither do I.
Especially now.
Yeah. No.
I will tell you, at least you had a cart and it was you in charge of a cart, because we just got back from Disneyland Paris, and the poor woman at Disneyland Paris had bubbles and food and I forget the third item, 3 different stations she was in charge of, just her.
Wow.
I felt so terrible for her. And like if somebody wanted bubbles, she had to like open, the little ropes that you use in a queue at an airport, that have you attach them. I forget.
The kind of ropes that you drop? Is that the same kind of ropes that you drop?
Rope dropping. You're very funny, Jean. Anyway, so she would have to like unlatch it, go over, do the bubble thing, open the bottom, cut the thing, get the thing all together, come back, latch herself back in. It was a process. I'm like, this poor girl, it's just her. And she has these 3 stations. It was terrible. I felt so terrible for her. But
it was definitely not that. It was a lot easier than that.
Bubbles are not my fave, but I'm sure Jean would love to talk to you for the next 5 hours about the Star Wars store.
I wouldn't do that to you, but I am curious, like, what was the work like as far as the work day, the times, like how many hours did you have to work a week, that kind of thing? And did you have any fun? I mean, I'm sure I could have fun anywhere, but I'm sure it was fun working, but did you get to do some fun stuff too?
Yeah. So a typical work shift was 6 hours. It was not bad at all. That now sometimes they would throw in an 8-hour shift. Sometimes it would be 6.5. It was, but the average was 6 hours.
And was that just for you, or was that is that a normal shift, or was that your normal shift?
So it was a normal shift for my location and job. So I can't speak for like people that work in food and beverage. They could get 12-hour shifts. Or attractions people, they might get something else. But for merchandise, it typically is 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours being most, really.
And did you ask for more? Like, can you ask for a specific spot, or do you just get put wherever?
You get put wherever, but if you don't like what you got, you can switch with people. You can get rid of with other people. As long as someone takes your shift or switches with you, you can kind of customize it to your life.
If you got merchandise and you really wanted food and beverage, could you do that, or you got put in merchandise and you have to do merchandise?
Yeah. So you can stay within your like overall role, which is like merchandise, but you can change locations if that makes sense. So if you don't like your location, which I was at Disney Springs, I could get rid of, to the best I could, get rid of all of my Disney Springs shifts and go pick up at Magic Kingdom if I wanted to.
Right.
But it still have to be in merchandise.
So could you have been assigned janitorial and you said, I don't want to go now?
If I got my role and it said like custodial, and I didn't want it, I would just have to not go. I couldn't put in, unless I had an accommodation where something about with what they do, I couldn't do physically or whatever. I could get out of it maybe that way. But if I don't have any accommodations, you are stuck there.
Okay.
And
but
like,
how lucky for you, like you got merch and your major is apparel. Like I wonder if that played a part or if that was just lucky.
I'm not sure. Now, people always talk about like what they talk about in their phone call interview is most likely what you're going to get. And the guy talked to me a lot about merchandise. He mentioned Photo Pass as well once, but mainly merchandise. So I was really thinking I was going to get one of those two. So when I saw merchandise, I wasn't surprised, but I was also really excited because that's what I wanted. Awesome. Now, when I saw Star Wars and Marvel at Disney Springs, I was a little bit like,
hey,
okay.
and let me add that we all kind of joked, like before she got her role, I can remember saying this out loud. What if you get Star Wars? And like, because she don't know anything about Star Wars. She don't know anything about Marvel. She only knows the real Disney stuff, because Star Wars is purchased.
That hurts.
And Disney is not original. Star Wars is not original. That's been bought. So
even though it's not original, it could be the very best thing about Disney. But I don't know. That's what some people say. That's what some people say.
It definitely added fun.
So, and that's what I was also concerned about, because when I saw that I got those two stores, I was like, wow, I've never seen a single Star Wars movie. What now? And a question like a lot of people have asked me is like, do they make you watch the shows? Do they make you like learn about it? And the answer is no. They could care less if you know anything about what you're talking about. They literally, like, one of our areas in the Star Wars store was the hilt table, which is the like bottom half of the lightsabers. I've learned that now.
You're speaking the language.
I didn't even know that. And I love Star Wars.
See, I know lots about Star Wars merch now, but they have that table where you literally, if you don't know what you're talking about, you have to continuously go back and forth between another cast member asking them questions. And you don't want to do that because that's just a lot. And so there's usually one person at the hilt table in charge of all the lightsabers. So they'll ask you, whose is that? What does that one do? And if you don't know it, then you look stupid and then you have to go and ask somebody. And so they'll train you there and they'll kind of give you a rundown on the information, but you kind of have to teach yourself. You have to like sit there and watch other people do what each lightsaber does, learn about them. So like, now at the very end of my program, I know all about everybody's lightsabers. Don't know what they did in the movie, but I know what each one assigned to who.
And the more important thing, she knows who Darth Vader is now. She knows all the Darth whoever's now, which she didn't know before.
I don't know anything.
There's something to add to your resume.
Yes.
Yeah. I now know all the Star Wars characters and which lightsaber belongs to which person.
And what color goes with who, and
I mean that's merch. That's it's branding. I mean, we'll spin that. We'll add that to your resume.
So funny.
Did you get to pick up any shifts in any other locations that were interesting?
Yeah, so I made it a goal of mine to pick up at each of the parks before I left, and so I only picked up at one place at each park because when you have a role like Disney Springs, other people tend to not want to pick up there because it's kind of boring. Like most people would want to pick up at a really cool place like Fantasyland and Magic Kingdom or something like that. So in order to pick up other places, you have to get rid of your shifts.
Oh.
So I only picked up at each park one time. I did Fantasyland and Magic Kingdom. I did Creations at Epcot, the Discovery Trading Post at Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Boulevard and Hollywood Studios.
And out of the 4, not talking about your Disney Springs experience, because that was your main. Out of the 4 that you got to guest appearance at, which did you like the most?
I liked my experience at Creations at Epcot the most. I liked the costume at Fantasyland the best.
I knew that was coming.
And like being able to just be like the atmosphere of Fantasyland was definitely, obviously, so much fun. But like the actual like working and having something to do and walking around stuff, Creations was easiest. The time flew by the best there.
But Creation smells bad.
It really does. And no one else thinks that. I'm so happy you think that, because every time I walk in there, I'm like, why does it smell so bad? But
it smelled bad when it was mouse gears, and it still smells bad now.
You want to know why? I figured it out.
Because there's dirty diapers underneath that building. That's the only thing I can come up with.
They have tunnels underneath there, just like Magic Kingdom, but their tunnels stink.
Oh.
Magic Kingdoms, for some reason, don't. When I walked into the Epcot tunnels, I was like, wow, it smells like Creations. And I don't know, and they were a lot nastier down there. Like the Magic Kingdom tunnels are like pretty. They have posters and whatnot. The Epcot tunnels look like a tunnel.
Oh.
It's actually really sad, but it smells like Creations. And so I don't know if the sewage is wrong down there. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't know it smelled. I didn't figure that.
I've always smelt it every time I go in there. I'm like, why does it smell?
It
I got used to it when I was in there, though.
So I'm going to we talked about your job and what you did and that excitement. I'm going to ask about living situation. So you mentioned that this was January, and all of a sudden now, you have to take time off work. You have to get her down to Florida. I'm guessing you lived in Flamingo Crossing. Okay. So why don't you explain what Flamingo Crossing is and how your roommate situation worked?
Yeah. So Flamingo Crossing.
And then hold on. And then I want to hear Dad's thoughts on this.
Yeah, exactly.
So Flamingo Crossings is a apartment that basically Disney created for college program students and some part-time people, but mostly just for the college program participants. And it is, you would think, just an average apartment, but it's run very differently than a typical apartment. Obviously,
Really?
It's more like a dorm than like an apartment. So you have to scan in every time you come in, and they keep track of you when you're coming in and out. Like, it's very monitored. So like, it's in theory safe. They keep it like that, obviously, for it to be safe. But it was coming from like in a regular apartment to a Disney dorm apartment. It was a big change for me personally. But besides all that, the roommate situation is it's 4 people to each apartment. And there's different layouts. There's 2x2s, which is you share a room with one other person. And then there's 2 bedrooms, but you share like dorm style. And then there's 4x2s where you get your own room, share a bathroom with one other person, and 4x4s where you get everything, which usually if you get a 4x4, you have accommodations. Typically, if you get a 4x2, you also have accommodations, but they have more. So some people do get to sneak in there. So most people get 2x2s, which is what I got. And so I was a little bit stressed when I saw that because I haven't shared a room with somebody in a long time. But I was like, all right, it's going to be fine. You get to pick a roommate, but you only get to pick one. So the other 2 in your apartment are complete strangers.
Oh, wow.
You have no idea who they're going to be until you get there. You can also pick if you want an all-girls apartment or if you don't care who's in there. Obviously, I picked all girls.
Yeah.
That's chiming in now.
But because some people go in with their like husband or wife, like they'll be married and they'll go in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because Disney college program, you can be 30 and be there. As long as you're in some sort of college, it doesn't matter what age.
College-ish.
college-ish.
Wait, so if I go back and take a course, I can go be in the Disney.
Because you're only 29.
Yes.
Which they said there's no age, right? No
She
age
said 30.
limit.
So let me just add this. So I heard. I'm trying to think who just. Oh, okay. So I have a buddy. One of my old college roommates told me we were on the phone talking about this because his daughter was asking me questions about his daughter, who's also named Emma, by the way, wanting to go do the college program, and he was asking me questions about all that, and he, you know, I'm just lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, what was I about to say?
Something
We're
about
talking about age.
Oh, yes, he said a teacher that works with his wife goes down there every summer. Like when she's done teaching class in May, she jets to Disney and does the program for the whole summer, and then comes back in August to start teaching again. He said she's done it for like 3 straight years, which I found to be interesting. Like, so I don't know how old she is, but I guess it's under 30, right?
No, it I don't think it matters.
And
at
she
all.
lives in Flamingo.
Because I knew a guy that worked in my location. He was around 40, and he was married, and he was in the college program. So that's why it's a little bit scary with the rooming situation, because you never know who you're going to end up with. It could be someone 40, which that could be really great, but it also could be turned really bad. So like, it kind of depends. And so I was a little scared going in, only being able to pick one roommate. And even that's not guaranteed.
And then there was another set of room, and there were 2 people in that room, and you had a shared living space of like a living room, kitchen space. Okay. Got it.
But the catch is they only guarantee that you and your person that you pick is in the same apartment. They can't guarantee it's going to be in the same room.
Oh.
Yeah. They'll just, and also they can't even guarantee that we'll be in the same apartment either. Like, that's no guarantees.
No guarantee for nothing.
Nothing. It's a hope and pray that we get together. And if not, that sucks to suck, honest. Like, that's what they'll tell you. Like, and I actually was behind someone in line talking about, it was a girlfriend and boyfriend. They were so mad that they didn't get in the same apartment together. Like, they were beside themselves and arguing at the lady at the front desk. Like, it's a thing. They don't guarantee anything. You can put your names down. But I went in with one girl that I met online, and we ended up getting the same apartment, but we didn't get the same bedroom. And she was in the other room, and I was in this room. I ended up getting really lucky that my roommate, she was from Brazil. She was super sweet, but she was only there for a week and then left because her program ended.
Oh, I thought you meant she quit. Okay,
no,
so her program was ending when yours was ending.
And then my roommate that I came in with, that we roomed together, she quit after 1 week.
Oh,
as well. So when my roommate that I was sharing a room with left, my roommate that had just gotten there also left because she was homesick. So now I'm here by myself, and then a week later, a new girl comes in. She's from South Korea. They're in the international college program. So they're also sharing this apartment complex. So she's from South Korea. Wow. Sweetest thing ever. She was, I think, like 23. She stayed the rest of the time, and it was just us.
Was she in your room?
She was in the other room.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm by myself in a room, and she's by herself in a room because both of our roommates moved out.
Oh.
And so what Flamingo does is, if new people are coming in, there's an off chance that you'll get an email saying, surprise, someone's coming and moving in your apartment next week. Wow. So you're always having to like keep your email refreshed because you'll never know. And I've heard many people say that my situation is completely abnormal because we ended up the whole program pretty much just us two.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I was paying for a 2x2, which is a lot cheaper than the 4x4s, but I got my own room and bathroom. Essentially, now any day now, someone could come in and take that spot. That's the chances, but like no one ever filled it until the week I moved out.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got really lucky on that. That's not normal.
Because your hours working at Disney Springs, what was your typical hours? Was it like 10 to 6? I mean, I don't know. I'm making things up.
Yeah. So what college program people like to call themselves is CP stands for closing person. So because we get guaranteed hours each week, they give us the leftovers of what the part-time and full-time people don't want. Which is closing hours typically. So my average was 5 to 11, 5:30 to 11, or 6 to 12 was my hours every night.
Okay, so but you could have hours from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. and potentially have a roommate who has to go open Hidden Kingdom, which opens at 7 in the morning. So you could potentially be in a room with someone who's got completely different hours than you.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
You just have to, like, that's what one of my good friends I met, that happened with her because her roommate was in entertainment and their hours are completely different. And so she was coming in really late and her roommate was asleep and they shared a bedroom. So they were having to be really, really quiet. And walking, the way it works is the 2x2s, you have to walk through the other person's space to get to your side. So like, it's not like you can just go to your side really quick. No, you're walking through their bedroom to get to your bed. So like, the doors are squeaky. It's like, there's no way anytime that happened to me with my like 2 weeks that I had a person living in my room, I would wake up every time. She would come in and out if I was asleep. And it just kind of is what it is. You just have to get used to it at that point. And that's why I got really lucky that I didn't have to deal with that most of the time.
Yeah. All right. So Trey, I'm going to ask you a question. How did you feel about all this? I mean, honestly, so here's your baby, heading to Florida, living in this apartment complex with a completely maybe random. I mean, college roommates are random too, for the most part, or sometimes their name and that's about it. But how did you feel about all this?
Well, okay. So, Emma, you're right. She is our baby. She has an older sister.
All babies are babies,
She is we have two. I have her and she has an older sister, and but Emma is the baby, and so we were a little bit concerned, and Emma, not to embarrass you a little bit, but like she is on the quieter side than the oldest one, and so we were a little bit just kind of like, okay, but then we started to think, well, she's made it at the University of Arkansas, kind of by herself up there, and we've made trips to go see her. Well, we kind of thought, okay, this is Orlando. She's kind of in a bubble down there because there is, in my opinion, such a thing as the Disney bubble. There just is. So when we took her to the apartment and moved her in, I was pretty impressed with the security. And of course I'm eyeballing the fence, how tall the fence is it iron or not? Can you jump it? Can you sneak in? Stuff like all those kinds of things. And when I'm clearly dad and the guard was telling me, you cannot come in, and that was kind of good. That was reassuring that she would be fine. Now, as we moved her into the room, and of course I'm looking at our kitchen right now. We're sitting in the kitchen. And I'm looking at this space and I'm thinking, this is probably this is bigger than your dorm room was. So I kind of, while ago when she was talking, I just started computing. Her dorm room was about 250 square feet. If you know how big that is, it's extremely small. And so we come in, we start moving her in and stuff. And I'm just thinking, how are you going to live in this room? Because I know Emma, I know her. And, and so what we just really hoped is that, 2 weeks down the road, she wouldn't be calling us crying and saying, come get me, and so, but we really did. We figured that if anybody could do it, it was Emma, because Emma's a very determined person. And she definitely would want to prove us all wrong. She would stick it out just to prove us all wrong. And so, but as far as her going down, we kind of knew. We moved her in January, so we started taking the calendar and just started saying, okay, all right, mom's going to come visit you in early February. Okay, sister and grandmother and mom are going to come 2 weeks later,
That's great.
and then we're going to come for spring break, and then we're going to come back Easter break, and then somebody else is going to come the end of April. And so when you start really looking at the whole timeline, I mean, Emma didn't go longer than 3 weeks, I think. Was that it? Like, you didn't go longer than 3 weeks?
Yeah.
I think the last 3 weeks or the last point was the longest. But every time we came, I mean, I feel like I took so much vacation. Oh my goodness. And so like, I mean, I'd almost go sell plasma just to pay for all the trips we went on. And, but we were down there and we would spend 3 or 4 days each time. And what did we do? We can't just not go to the parks and go from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. That's what we have to do. So when these trips,
what you have to,
I mean, they literally wore us out, these trips, but it was all in fun. We got to see Emma, but I guess to answer your question, the thought of leaving her and knowing, hey, we're going to be back in a few weeks. Me and Emma, we started doing this when she went to college, but we would Snapface, what's it called?
Snapchat.
Okay. We would Snapchat back and forth just every day to show a picture. This is what we're doing right now. And most of the time it was us driving down the road or something like that. And so and we talked all the time. So, and her and mom talked every day. And then Abby, our oldest, would talk to her. So even though she wasn't home, she was home. If that makes
sense. So much easier now than when I was in school, when we wrote letters to our friends, because we didn't even have emails then, which my kids just are like, what? What do you mean you didn't have email? I'm like, email did not happen until I was in college. And you had to go to the library to log into your school email account. Anyway, they think it's crazy. I'm like, we did not send smoke signals up to each other, but almost that bad. Well, I'm glad to hear that as a parent, you felt safe and secure having her there, and it all worked out. Emma, I have a weird question for you. How did you get to your job every day? So you're at Flamingo Crossing and let's say you have to clock in at 5 o'clock. So walk me through that, because that's a part of the puzzle I've never quite figured out. So tell me how that works.
So Flamingo has a bus system, just like how Disney runs buses throughout the whole property, but they have buses just for the college program participants. And, you would think that would be really good. But I tried it out like the first week or so, and I mapped it out. I would have to leave 2 hours before my shift in order to make it on time, because they're very unreliable. So I was very thankful that I brought my car. So the first week, tried out the buses. Absolutely not doing that again. I took my car to work every day. I would leave about an hour early. And so that was way better than 2 hours. And according to like some traffic, it would take me 25 minutes to get to Disney Springs from Flamingo every day. Or honestly, anywhere on Disney property, it took about 25 minutes. And so I would leave an hour. So then I got there 30 minutes early. The Disney Springs cast parking lot is behind, I don't know if you're familiar, but the Coca-Cola in the buses, the Coca-Cola store and like the Disney buses, that whole area, it's like across the street. So there's a big old bridge. There's a bridge. And so we park over there, and my break room, like I said, I don't know how familiar we are with Disney Springs, but it was about a 5-minute walk from my stores. And so I would have to walk all the way from across the bridge to my break room to put my lunch and all my things. And then I have to walk all the way, which is about a 5-minute walk, to my stores to clock in. And so, we have a thing called Mickey Minutes, which is you can clock in 5 minutes before your shift and then 5 minutes after, and you get paid for those 5 minutes. So it adds up if you want to do the 5 minutes. So I always would get there 5 minutes early, just because I'm also a type of person where I want to be there on time and not be late at all. So I'm already there 5 minutes early, might as well clock in and get those 5 minute money. And so so after I would get there, I would literally walk into my store. Let's say I work at 5:30, I'd walk in at 5:25 and by leaving Flamingo an hour early.
Wow. Okay.
That's
and it
cool.
was free parking, obviously, in big old parking lot for everybody.
And your food, it was like a traditional apartment where you bought your own food, you cooked your own food. There was no dorm style cafeteria type food. Okay. So that I would guess too would also help having a car so you can get to the grocery store. I mean, I know there's food delivery services.
So lots of people don't bring their cars to when they're on the program, especially the international people. So of course, they have to have some sort of, because they're not providing food at the apartments, there is a bus stop that goes to like the Walmart or the Target, and it would be like a 2-hour round trip. Like it's just like, it's doable. If I had to do it, I would, but like having my car there was definitely, like, I would recommend that to anyone going.
Okay. Good to know. Good tip.
And buy a toll tag.
Yes.
For the car. We ran into that. So if anybody in the future watches this, buy a toll tag.
Yes.
Because it saves half the price in tolls. Because it's right on the toll road. It's right on the toll road. So if you don't go in the Disney bubble, you're hitting the toll road every time.
If you're going anywhere else besides Disney, you're going.
Another good tip. I wouldn't have thought of that.
So I have food. I have food written down as well. I'm curious. So, did you eat any Disney food? And was there anything? I mean, you're a Disney fan, so you probably there's probably some Disney favorites you have. Was there anything that like you had on the regular?
What was my regular? So during the Flower and Garden Festival, I was there. Yes. Once that opened, I would go to Brunch Cot, that little stand, and get the avocado toast.
Yeah,
all
nice.
the time. Like
I knew I liked you.
So what I thought was really funny that I ended up doing a lot was I found myself always at Epcot on my off days. And I think the two reasons were the avocado toast and Guardians.
Makes sense.
I would be sitting in my room. I'm like, kind of bored. Might go ride Guardians. And I'd go, and if it was early enough, I'd be able to get my avocado toast, eat it in line, and then go ride. And so
by herself.
I looked at I would look at my ticket and see what park I entered the most, and it was Epcot. And that's funny enough, it's not even my favorite park. It probably is my second favorite now after my program. Magic Kingdom will always be my favorite. But after my program, my list has definitely changed from my favorites, which is kind of funny. But no, avocado toast is definitely for my food. And what else? I also like the Animal Kingdom. I forgot the name of it, but the quick service right outside of Pandora.
Satui Canteen.
Yes. Yes, that one. I had never tried it before, and I went because we would stop at the airport.
I stopped there and got carryout and brought it to the airport to eat it after I checked in at the airport. That's how much I like it.
I had no idea it was so good.
I have a small obsession with it.
We would always ride Flight of Passage in the mornings, and then get the at the little stand right outside, not the big place, but the stand, and it had the Pongo Lumpias, the pineapple spring roll, and we would get that for breakfast, and then call it a day, and then move on. So we never went inside that area. And so I was by myself one day, and I was like, I need some food. Let me try something else, something different. And so I looked at the menu. I was like, oh, that looks good. And I was like, wow, why haven't I never been here? And so I went there a few times. It was very good.
Do you get discounts on food or anything?
So not food, not quick service type foods like walk-ups. Dine, you have to be sitting down dining in, table service. Not necessarily character, just like any table service.
Mickey wants his money there, that's for sure.
Yeah, so no discounts on anything like that. Merch, yes, and then table service. That's it.
And then what about
How much Star Wars stuff did you buy? I mean, I know it's tempting. Star Wars stuff did you buy? I know it was tempting.
I think I maybe bought a pen.
A trading
Just
pin.
like a memorabilia.
Yeah, I understand.
And then did you, what about getting into the park? Was that free or did you have to buy an annual pass?
Yeah, it was free. So
Okay.
it was kind of like the way it worked was kind of like an annual pass where you had to, what's it called? Schedule like when you're going. Reservation, park reservation. It ran very similar to that.
Got it.
Okay.
You would have
But you weren't responsible for paying like an AP. Okay, that's good. That would be pretty awful. So
yeah, except like sometimes they would have like blockout dates, so you can't go to certain parks each day. Just like some certain annual pass holders, we were the lowest tier annual pass holder, if that makes sense. So like the blockout days for the lowest tier, that's what cast members are.
Okay.
But the good news is, it wasn't that crowded. So the blockout days, like we would be planning out for like when they would come to visit. I'm like, oh no, Magic Kingdom has a blockout day for this day. And I'm looking at a month in advance. Well, then as we get closer to, it went away. And so we were able to go because they would project that day to be super busy, and then it wasn't.
So we waited to the last minute. We waited literally to the last minute to buy tickets, and her mom bought an annual pass because she was going to be going down the most. And so her annual pass was like the top tier because we're out of state. We had to buy the most expensive one, which means there's no blackout dates for out of state people. And so, but like one thing about her deal is when she worked so many hours, she earned some free tickets for us. And so I don't know how many you wind up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It was like 3 or 4.
It was, I believe, I'm trying to think of how many hours. I think it was like 150 every 150 hours, I believe. You got 3 free tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not entirely sure if the hours is correct, but I believe it's 150 hours. Every 150, you would get 3.
Yeah, there was one particular trip where she was able to essentially get us like a 2-day hopper pass for 2 of us. And so,
wow.
It would be they're all hopper passes. So I believe at the end, now my family came a lot and I gave away a lot of my shifts. So I didn't work as many hours as the normal person would. But I think at the end
we lost money on this deal.
Right.
Overall.
But it was for the experience. I think I got a total of like 9 free tickets, I think.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Is there any advice or wisdom you would give someone if they were interested in the program?
Yeah, I would say do it, because the first thing I would say do it. And because I was very like, Dad asked me like way before I applied, he was like, are you sure? Like, I just feel like you may not actually like it. And I was like, it's just something I really want to do. Yeah. I've been wanting to do it since I heard about it. So I really regretted it if I didn't. And so I would say just at least try it. I mean, the worst thing that would happen is you just go home. Mm-hmm. Like, just try it out. And then also when you get your role a month out before you go. If you get something like custodial or house person or something food and bev that most people would say are not the ideal roles, every person I've ever talked to on my program that was in a role like that had no complaints. Not a single one. I haven't heard anyone say, oh my gosh, I hate my role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I can't speak that much about it because obviously I got one of the more sought after roles. But with those types of roles, I told Dad this, I was like, because you can't pick, they just give you something. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what if you get custodial? And I said, I guess I'm cleaning bathrooms.
That's a great attitude, right? Because I mean, you live a life that you get handed stuff. Sometimes it's not what you signed up for, so to speak. That's a great attitude. I love to hear that. That's great.
Well, because like, if I would now, let's say I would have heard a lot of people complain about it, then maybe my head would have been turn, but like I've literally never heard a single person be like, "Oh my gosh, I hate this job." Like I haven't. And I worked there for a couple months and I met different people in different roles and no one said custodial. Like even people said that they loved custodial one because you get to walk around the parks and you get lots of guest interaction.
Yeah.
So like I guess some of like my big advice is don't freak out when you see your role. Just give it a chance because I was also a little bit freaking out that I was working in Star Wars. I was like, wow, this stinks. But I loved working at Disney Springs West Side, which is where I was, because it was 4 different stores. I got to alternate between different ones. If I didn't like a certain one, which I didn't love Candy Cauldron that much, I just gave away those shifts because some people liked it. And then I got to pick up more of the Star Wars, which is really funny that Star Wars and Marvel ended up being my favorite ones to work at. It was just the easiest and had more guest interaction. I don't know. I just liked it the best. And so you can kind of customize your experience to how you want it. And so everyone's experience is going to be different. And I think the only thing you can, like, you literally just have to do it and then, make it your own.
And I have one final
Emma,
question.
I'm sorry.
I'll let you finish up. But do you feel like it ruined any of the magic for you?
I would say if you weren't a crazy Disney fan like I was, then yes. For me, I already did all the research about everything, so I already knew what everything was.
So you knew about the tunnels.
I knew about all the behind-the-scenes stuff already because I was already Googling that. And to me, as a person, I think it makes it more magical to see the behind the scenes and see how it all comes together because it really is like a lot of people, like a lot of effort to make it a certain way. And like seeing the behind the scenes, I got to see so many behind the scenes cool stuff. And to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm nerding out. This is so cool. But to someone else, it could be essentially ruining the magic. It just it depends on how you are as a person. But for me, no, I thought it was really cool.
And she mentioned earlier about that, like that was one thing that we were just a little bit like, maybe you don't want to do this, because what we were really not most concerned with, but this was definitely in the back of our mind, is what if she goes down there and then she comes home and she's like, never again do I want to set foot in the Disney bubble. And so of course we'd be kind of like indifferent on that, because all the money we'd save. But then again, we would be disappointed that her childhood, everything she loved, would be over, like, essentially. And so that was definitely it was a concern. It was.
And that's another thing that I was really almost happy that I got Disney Springs and not a park, because a lot of people that work at a certain park, they were like, I never want to go there on my off days because I'm there every day.
Yeah.
And so when I when I got my role at Disney Springs, I was talking to my mom about, she was like, well, look at it on a bright side. Like when you get to go to the parks on your off days, it's like a treat. It's like a fun thing you get to do, and not necessarily like, oh, I work there every day, I don't want to go back. And so I don't know. I think it depends on the person. If I got sick of the parks, I just wouldn't go that day. And then wait till I get excited to go again.
Took one day off on that.
Just took one day, stayed at my apartment one day, and then the next day I'm like, oh, I want to go back again. So I don't know. It didn't ruin it at all for me, which I was very pleased, which I didn't think it would, but
we're good. All right, Gina.
I just have a couple of rapid fire questions.
Right.
Best part about the whole experience?
I don't know, being able to be like I worked at my favorite place ever.
Okay. All right. Worst part about the whole experience?
Living away from home for that long.
Okay. That's a good answer. Also, did you ride Rise, Remy, or Mickey's Runaway Railway very much?
All of them. Multiple times.
How many times did they break down on you?
I never got like an intro exit or anything.
I don't know. I believed everything that you said up until this point.
No, I know. But I will say I did count about how many times the Kylo Ren animatronic at the end, like, the one that goes like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of times they do the B mode where it's just a screen. And I think I probably saw the actual animatronic. If, let's say, I wrote it 20 times, I probably saw it 6.
Broken.
Yeah. Now there was definitely things that were wrong with each ride, but never got an in-show exit.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So this is my big philosophical question. To the only one I'm going to ask. Is there some big takeaway? Did you learn something that you're taking away from this about yourself, about anything? And maybe you didn't. I'm just curious.
Well, not to out myself, but before Disney, I had never worked a full-time job.
Okay.
So going to Disney, I was honestly really scared. I was like, oh gosh, I have to work like big time. And so I learned, for one, I can do it. It is possible. And what else? That was a main thing that I was really worried about. But I got to work at my favorite place. And what else did I learn? I learned that I can move away from home and be fine. I will be all right. I know that my family will always come visit me. And I will be okay.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Jody, do you have anything else?
No, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and
no doubt.
You giving me all the information. I took notes because I've got, like I said, I've got a kid who is very interested, and I appreciate the parent perspective because that's important too.
Yeah. I have a daughter that is leaving a week from today to go to college, and I'm fine. And so I'm a lot of thinking about her being away and how often I'm gonna make a trip. Have to just randomly need to bring her something or whatever. But I appreciate that perspective as well. Anything else from you guys that you want to share that we didn't touch on, either Trey or Emma?
Well, here's some advice on your daughter going to college, because
I'll take it.
I will say this, with kind of what we said a while ago about Snapchat. I always get one. So one of my favorite things to do daily when Emma was gone was to pull up Life 360 and see where she was. And so literally almost every time, not every time, I'm exaggerating, but it seemed like every time I pulled it up, she was on the Guardians ride. and then we and this is probably a little information, but we gave her a credit card and said, okay, you can buy you a meal a day, go buy like if we send her here or we make something at home, we would be paying for it. And so sure enough, I would get the text message from our credit card saying brunch cot. And so I know she touched and so brunch cot $7.87. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, she's and here I am, assistant principal at the school I'm at, and I'm suspending a kid as we speak, and for doing stupid. And my daughter is eating a brunch cot and about to go ride our favorite ride while I'm working, and she's supposed to be working. And so I don't know. It didn't seem like there's a lot of work going on. But the advice to you, Gene, is get your daughter to get on the 360 and just kind of check in with her and send her a little text.
I bet she'll love that.
I see you.
So what's funny is at orientation they advised all the parents, get off Life 360. You don't need to look and see where your kids are. You're going to worry yourself to death. You gotta push them out of the nest and let them fly. I hadn't decided what I'm doing about that. My daughter actually looks at where I am more than I look at where she is.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Maybe different scenario, but
it's different when she's at Disney and riding Guardians.
That's true. But I'm not discounting your advice, Trey, at all. Thanks so much for sharing all that. I really enjoyed having y'all.
Me too. Thank you.
And great perspective. It was such a great experience, and I'm glad you got to experience that. Glad you got to do that, because you'll get to a point in your life like, what could I, should that's something that a lot of people don't get to do or wouldn't even take the chance to do. And I think it's such a great way to step out, a great learning experience, and just a great overall experience.
Yeah, it was definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity that I'm so glad I jumped at when I could.
I'm glad you did. So now is my favorite and our 2 or 3 listeners' favorite part of the show, and that's quacking up with the ducks. And so we'd love for you to participate if you have a joke you'd like to share. I'm going to let Jody start it out, and Trey and Em, if you want to participate.
Yeah, I mean, it's back to school time, and Jean and I both have daughters going to college next week, and so and my sister was a teacher for a while. My dad, both my parents worked in the school district at one point in time, so got me thinking. My sister said that she had a student who was late on the first day of school. She said, "Why were you late to the first day of school?" And the student said, "I saw a sign that said, 'School ahead, go slow.'"
Good.
I know. It's awful. It's the best I can come up with.
That's pretty good.
That's why we do it. That's why we do it. Trey, you got something to share with us?
All right. Well, this is corny. I mean, it's a dad joke.
Right. That's the whole point.
Okay. So, and I actually heard, this is not one of my own. I actually heard this and thought it was pretty funny. So, and I'm going to make sure I do it right. Okay. So what did the Papa Buffalo say to the baby boy buffalo?
I have no idea.
As he was leaving to go to work. All right. The answer is, "Bye, son." Bison. Bison. Okay. Yeah.
That's the best part of it.
I would butcher it. The delivery was terrible.
You did great.
It was good.
You did great.
Do your little dad joke. You have a couple.
Yeah. The one I always turn into the Monsters Inc. laugh for is which Disney princess makes the best judge?
I don't know.
Snow White, because she's the fairest of them all.
Nice. Very good. Very good.
Because they love a Disney joke on there.
That's good. So, I'm a thinker. I don't just look at things and take them at face value. I like to think through things. And, working at the Marvel store, you may have thought of this, Emma. But, when the Incredible Hulk, whenever Bruce Banner, when he turns into the Hulk, his clothes all shred, but his pants, they stay the same. It's kind of, I've always thought that was kind of weird. Have you thought that was weird, Jody?
Yeah, now that you point that out.
It's weird.
I thought about that
But you know what? You know why though, right? I found out why. I did some research. It's because the gamma radiation altered his genes too.
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna have to do that one. That's good.
Hey, thank you all again for being here. We really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun, and stay tuned. We might have our friends back to talk about some other stuff here in the future. Thanks, Jody, for being here and really taking the reins with the questions and putting your skills to use. Thank you so much, listeners. Those 2 or 3 of you listening, we appreciate your reviews, your feedback, your engagement with us on Facebook. 5 stars, not 4, not 3, not 2, not 1, 5 stars. Look at that Haunted Mansion mug. Thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. And the lawyers have been hard at work. But funny enough, I don't know that they had to work that hard this week.
Because John's not here.
Yeah. So this episode of Disney with the Ducks was brought to you by 2 podcasting legends, Jody, who makes everything happen with a wave of her wand and a color-coded spreadsheet, and Jean, the heart and soul of the show, whose wisdom runs deeper than Crescent Lake itself. Together, they were joined by Emma, a real-life Disney College Program superstar, and her dad, Trey, who bravely shared his experience letting his 20-year-old daughter follow her dreams to Orlando with only a suitcase and a smile and maybe a GPS tracker. Now, you may be wondering, where were the others? John was not on this episode, which is why no churros were ranted about. No controversial ride rankings were shouted, and absolutely no off-key Disney musical numbers broke out mid-sentence. Our legal team thanks you, John, sincerely. Jeff, also MIA, presumably lounging at a deluxe resort, quietly judging tourist footwear while making deep emotional connections to fireworks shows no one else can hear. And Lonnie, where is Lonnie? Disneyland? Disney World? Castaway Cay? Disney Tokyo? We may never know. What we do know is that he definitely isn't running, because despite being our resident race motivator, Lonnie hates running. He hates it more than a 90-minute Genie Plus refresh window. He signs up, he trains, he motivates, and then immediately regrets it around mile 2. His dad jokes are also missing this week, but we're not missing them. We assume that those dad jokes are resting in a recovery tent somewhere after emotionally injuring several listeners last episode. So if you experience laughter, joy, or a sudden urge to pace Crescent Lake with a snack in one hand and dreams in the other, know that these symptoms are normal, expected, encouraged. Disney with the Ducks may not be approved by the FDA, but it is recommended by 4 out of 5 retired animatronics. Consult Jody before planning anything. Trust Gene with your Disney soul. Avoid John's food takes, Jeff's side glances, and anything Lonnie says after mile 10. This has been your official Disney with the Ducks legal disclaimer. Quack responsibly.
Thank you,
Thank
friends.
you, everybody.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
We enjoyed it.
Thank y'all. It was great having you. So really and truly, Jody keeps all this going. She keeps it all straight. She keeps, she gets us going. Oh, listen, we don't have enough in the hopper. We got to get some shows. We got to figure out some topics, all that kind of stuff. Other folks were wanting to kind of take a break during the summer, and Jody's like, no breaks.